So here's a quick one that once again shows that you never quite know someone. That you need to really do your homework on someone before you get involved with them. And also, honestly, sleep with one eye open nowadays in the Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0 world. As this guy here in this story was been dating his girl for a couple months, thought it was going good. But then one thing leads to another for him to find out that she has a whole other career than she let on. A different way of making money. And, well, you'll see what I'm talking about. Title: I caught a girl I'm seeing with someone else. He says, I've been seeing this girl for a couple months, and we've been doing very well. Nothing out of the ordinary. A couple weeks ago, she told me that she has to go to Seattle to take care of some work. It was a day trip. We're in the Bay Area, so it wasn't that big of a deal. She even told me that she wanted to stay over the night before her flight so I can drop her off at the airport. The flight was today, and yesterday before I was supposed to pick her up to stay over, I suddenly said that her friend, a female, was coming over because there was a problem and wanted to drink and talk, and that I might have to pick her up really late. I smell BS. The night progresses, and she says that she didn't think she'd be able to stay over and that her friend was going to drop her off at the airport instead. I was skeptical at first, but I did have some documents that she needed to bring, so I had to bring them over last night, and she was so apologetic, and she had to cancel out staying over. I was a bit upset, but relieved how sad she looked. I came home and we chatted for a bit before I dozed off. Today the flight comes and we were talking like normal while she was in Seattle. Her friend was supposed to pick her up from the airport as well, and she had already told me about this weeks back. Everything seems normal until I didn't get any messages from the moment she left Seattle until almost the time that she was landing. Ah, what's she doing? Must be some very urgent business going on. I did try to give her a call, which she hung up and texted me to wait, and she's busy. I started getting anxious. I got a little bit lucky at the same time because my mom gave me a call and told me that she was flying today and asked if I could drop her off at the airport the same time that my girlfriend, was supposed to arrive. I obliged and thought, perfect, maybe I'll get to see her too while I'm dropping my mom off. So this guy, things seem a little off to him. But also, it sounds to me, maybe you guys will pick up on this too, he's only been seeing her a couple months. He seems way more into the relationship than she is, and a little needy. Now when there's smoke, there's fire, and he can tell something's off, but I just get that vibe. He's way more in the relationship than she is, and a little more rushing things along. Anyway, he says, so I did. I dropped my mom off at the airport, and she had just landed. I wanted to surprise her, so I waited by the parking structure facing the arrivals. A few minutes go by, and guess who I see? Her and another guy holding hands, crossing the street and into the parking structure. Well, it must be her twin, or it must be a clone, because it wouldn't be your girlfriend holding the hands of some guy, because she was off in Seattle doing it for one day and one night only and wouldn't answer the phone for a job. Well, define job. They literally crossed right into the parking structure below me. I was on the third floor as I was looking over to see her giving him a peck on the cheek. I said, this actually felt like I was in a Korean drama scene. I don't know what that means. I stood there for a few seconds, went back to my car, and drove home. I still haven't heard from her since. What should I do? Should I tell her? How should I tell her? Dude, she's cheating on you. And obviously her job is something that she hasn't quite gotten into detail with you about. So we can all figure out what her job is. You need to end it with her. I wouldn't call her again. End of story. Yeah, you have the right to give her a piece of your mind or maybe get some answers, but you know what's going on. I wouldn't have anything to do with her. And if you suddenly abruptly stop talking to her, she'll know why. Now the quick update. It says, thank you all for your responses. You seem to all be saying the same thing, so I don't need to respond to each one. She finally responded to me, and I started off slow by acting normal and asking her about the trip. She responded with I guess the lies to stick to the story with the famous, sorry, I ran out of the battery. Or her battery went down, that's why she didn't respond to him. I tried not to tell her to see how long she'll keep going on about the lie, but I kind of spilled it. I told her I was at the airport and that I was dropping off my mom. And that's all I said, and she started apologizing and told me why she lied. You weren't going to hear about this until you obviously caught her. So here's where it gets tricky. She's struggling financially. And she told me that someone has paid to spend time with her. I won't go any further. She's asking me to meet tomorrow, and I'm curious to see what else there is to say. There you go. Struggling financially, and this is the way she's making money. Welcome to Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. And by the way, she's in her 30s. It's not like she's in her prime, ranging from college age to 20s, that oftentimes do this. She's in her 30s, so she's not exactly, you get my point. It's over. There's no need to discuss anything. You haven't seen her for a couple months, okay? You haven't a whole lot of time invested in her. Emotionally, you can tell he's more into her. But there you go. You have to pay attention, gentlemen. And when there's smoke, there's fire. You pay attention to the red flags. And she obviously is a liar and a deceiver. You can't be with someone like this. I don't care if she's struggling financially, whatever. If she was going through a tough time, then she should at least mention it, because this guy obviously would be the type of guy that would have helped her out, for better, for worse. Not for her to be essentially sell herself, because that's what's going on here for this one-day trip. She probably works for a company that, they charge $500 for her to go to some city and see some guy, and then they probably get $300 and she gets $200 or something like that. This is not girl from material, and let alone someone that lies to you and messes with your mind and all that. No, end it. But if he's the type of guy that doesn't have a lot going for him, takes what he can get because he doesn't think very highly of himself, he'll probably take her back. So I'm going to keep an eye out for this update. But again, guys, pay attention to red flags. You got to do your homework. It's unfortunately that's how it is, but it has the reality of today's world. So I wish this guy luck, but the best thing you can do, whoosh, nope, we're not going to meet tomorrow. I don't need any explanation. We're done. Good luck. That's what he should do.